Hello. So, hi Miss Burkowski. This is me doing special effects. For the civics project. Give me a second. My mirror situation is going all screwy. So first thing I think I'm actually gonna do is show you some like slashes across the face. So take this and kind of, I'm gonna sketch out lightly. Kind of make like a nice little animal scratch. Then like a slightly like longer one. So then it's like so. And then I'm gonna take some like pinkish eyeshadow, and I should have done it on this side of my face, but I'm gonna do it on this side of my face because I'm right-handed. Come on, Akis, she doesn't want to be bothered. You're gonna take like a nice one of the, like these two colors are usually perfect, but I usually start with that as like a cool transition shade. Hey, there's me in the mirror. Oh my god. So I'm gonna take Devoted, which is right here. And this is like Fearless, which is a really nice deep orange shade. I might use that for discoloration, but you're gonna take Devoted, you see there, and kind of just lightly go around the outside because it gives it irritation. And there are also kind of some more guidelines for where you want to put irritation and blood. And my mirror is like above my camera. And I usually like to put some like directly under the eye. And even on like the brow bone. For irritation. Now these are all going to be like kind of quickie half-hour or so tutorials because I'm also posting these on YouTube and I'm not that popular on YouTube, so I really don't have the audience to make like time-lapse photos. And I think if you see the entire process, you'll actually like it. And I know it'll take a lot of your time to watch it, but I think you'll actually really enjoy it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take like this brush. I'm going with like a darker pink and kind of deepen those lines because you want to I hit pan on one of my eyeshadows. Anyway, it's always actually nice to kind of darken those lines and lightly fill in each of the cuts. Technically cuts, like scratches, but like you just got mauled open by like a coyote. I'm basing it off of like an animal attack that probably a Pilgrim or a Puritan would have gone through, or even a Native American. It's just showing the more animalistic side of things, because even this could probably even happen in battle. Probably, I don't know, you're the teacher. Since this one's like obviously the smaller one, I'm gonna darken, I think, that line up just a tad bit more. Just that nice line, and then gently fill it in. Oh my god, 5 minutes in already? Oh gosh. And this one, I'm gonna, since this line, I kind of want to look at you. This one, this top one, you really can't like see that well. I'm gonna make sure I make the edges extra dark. Just because then when you like look at me head on, then you can see the thing that just happens to be like slightly darker. I'm actually going to darken up the smallest one more. Yeah. And I'm going to gently pat just a little bit of brown in to help kind of darken and smudge it into the skin. Because that inside is going to have to be the darkest, because that's where the coagulated blood gel is going to go, which you'll see in a minute. Small one needs more. Now these are just like obviously rough sketches. Yes, it is. God dang. Gotta blow my nose real quick. But before we go on the next step, I am going to quickly make this other eye look puffy. And I know Puritans and Pilgrims didn't have eyeliner, but I'm going to add just a tiny bit of eyeliner to darken that up, to just kind of darken and make it look like, you know, you're actually kind of in a fight and you just got your face clawed open. Just a little something. I might fill in my eyebrows, I'm not really sure. I'm actually on the top lid. And just lightly feather some stuff in. My lighting is really bad in my makeup / cosplay room. Okay, so next step is grabbing liquid latex, and I prefer using cotton balls. And this is gonna be useful. Oh, I gotta sneeze. And what can I use? I'm just gonna use either the back or the front of this to lay out the cotton balls. So how I'm gonna do this, and one cotton ball should probably do a good amount of these. I'm actually gonna like take my sculpting and kind of just stab it through the middle to where it starts to slide down like that and unravel. Then you just unroll the rest of it and you can throw away. I'm actually gonna go ahead and unroll 2. Now this is just the way I find easiest, because I mean, to be fair, it is really hard to unroll cotton ball, you know, because you're just like, it's a cotton ball, but these things are actually rolled, and I did not know that until I watched a special FX makeup video that explained that you could do that, because I didn't know myself. See, this is what that's gonna look like, and generally I would take a piece like that big, kind of like stretch it out as far as it'll stretch, and then I'll actually take it again and make these, not intended, and take these nice little things, and I would be kind of putting it shape. I'm actually gonna, yeah, cut that down even smaller, so then it'll kind of more lay like so on the face. This is called liquid latex. If you didn't know, subscribe to Pooty Book. Now this will smell like your nose hair is burnt. It's very sticky when it starts to dry, and then it turns into rubber. So I'm actually going to dip it into the latex. And kind of just, I'm actually gonna take my sculpting thing and use that to help gently coat my cotton strip in latex. Now this is where it kind of does get messy. This is the messy spot. Oh, that got onto one of my cuts on my fingers. And gently enough. If you have to scrape off, you have to scrape a bit of it off. Ow! That's just life. Now I have kind of like flesh colored latex, but it dries like orangey, but I still take more and kind of help it conform to the shape I want, and just to help like glue it down a bit more. Now I would use Scar Wax for this, because Scar Wax would be a lot better, but I don't have any fixative A, which solidifies the wax and doesn't make it movable or malleable anymore. So I'm gonna take my second piece, kind of straighten it out, kind of plan where I'm going to put it. And this time I'm going to do it a bit differently. I'm going to take the other end and just kind of smooth out a nice itty bitty line of latex. Now latex does take a little while to dry. Not gonna lie about that. Actually blend those edges together soon. So I can see that's what that's gonna look like. And then, so by blending, I'm actually lifting a little bit of it up to give it like that fleshy edge, which is something you're gonna want. And when it dries, I'm actually going to put some I don't know what I was gonna say. Now I'm actually going to make some bruises, which is really, really easy. Usually I'll use like a stippling sponge, but this one's kind of gross right now. So I'm gonna kind of use my finger, I guess, or some other, you know what, no, I actually have some brushes. So I'm gonna be using mainly 3 colors. But first I'm gonna make a purple bruise. And this is my palette. And I'm actually gonna make this one along kind of like the bridge line, and you like the bridge on the nose, and you want it to be kind of like jagged a bit, you know, because you got like veins popping in your face and everything. And then so I actually like kind of tap it out to help dilute it a bit. And you obviously take your blue, and you're gonna dab that around and really like blend it in. Blend it in a bit and then kind of trail off. And then even you could put in some dots of white and tap those in for like a bit of highlight. Which is kind of a sucky bruise, but I've done way better. But still, just gonna bring that one down, yeah. I'm just gonna put a bit of lipstick on. And then I'll even put in a little bruise around the mouth, which I could do with eyeshadow, but I'm trying to use the paint that's on the brush before I dip in with other colors. I think this is dry. Now, since I'm using latex and it tends to stick to brushes, and I have like really nice brushes, I'm gonna take this really old one. Take some powder and dab that on, because it's gonna take away a bit of the shine, and it lightens the latex up so I can make it my skin tone, and it actually looks pretty good. So I'm not gonna add foundation, because since this is really, really white, like whiter than tissue or toilet paper in my opinion, it's just easier to make it your skin tone, and plus it's supposed to look kind of like gross and messed up. So now if you're making a prosthetic, then I would suggest trying to match it to your skin color. I'm just trying to lift up the edges a bit. Now I'm actually gonna take a fluffy, again, I have really old brushes from like 7th grade. Is this still a black eyeshadow in it? Yeah, there's still a black eyeshadow in it from like 3 years ago. So I'm gonna take this, go into my Outspoken, which is like a really dark red color, and actually kind of lightly go on the latex. Actually, I'll use Devoted, because that's like, just in general, a bit of pink to use. God, my lighting is so bad. Now I'm gonna do the other two. Actually thinking about, yeah. The second one, this last one up here, I'm actually gonna kind of do in stages. A little bit. Now since this one is obviously like higher up on my face and you can't really see it that well, I am actually going to have this one stick at the back. Oh, I didn't get that much. And kind of push it down a bit more against my skin. But still make like an obvious lift of the skin. It can actually be very, very difficult to get the latex to like stick to the thing, stick to the cotton. Especially this one, especially this specific cut where it's high up on my face and I'm actually having a bit of trouble seeing it. No, I actually like to smooth down like the tops and the bottoms first, and then I like to get a nice big glob and smooth it down. So I purposely made that skin flap a bit bigger. So that it would be more noticeable from if you were just looking at me head on. And this one's really tricky since it's actually really far back on my face. Just smother this on latex, this one on latex, to even remotely blend it. Actually, let's take this one back a bit and kind of. It'll look better once I add the actual, like, gore. Let's just stick a little connector in there. Yeah. There we go. I'm actually gonna should I? Nah, actually I don't want to do that. Now usually when people do a look like this, they'll usually go for just regular face paint, but I actually like to make it like stick onto my face. Because it obviously then looks 3D and real, and it's technically real, it's just done with makeup, not like, yeah, I was totally in The Mystic at the Massacre and something just mauled me, you know, like not like real, but real enough to make you think it's real. Did not begin with the piece. About that big. And of course, Miss Borkowski, you know this is something that I actually take a lot of pride in. And I'm very proud about. And I'm going to go to school so that I can learn how, so I can get like an actual cosmetology license and do this on people other than myself. Because I want to make people in movie theaters go, who did that makeup? Oh, such good makeup. That person was just so good at their job. Like, I want to be that artist that everybody just is like, oh, that's so gory. That has to be Emily Barney's work. Or I just might go by Emily Barnes. Or King. Not after like Stephen King, after like my stepdad, who I call dad. Because I love him so much. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what would be a small cut on a cheek that's like not all latexed up. But I actually really like how it turned out. This one's just gonna be a really simple small cut. And that's what I would do. For like a small minor cut that's really not that bad. Now, where's my thing? Okay. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to get the top of this coagulated blood gel off. Like, I've actually cracked the top many, many times. So this is coagulated blood gel. It's, how many ounces is this? I haven't even used half of it yet. That's impressive. I use a lot of this stuff. It does eventually drip down. So it's like kind of running like blood, but it's still stickier. It's that little drip. So that's what I use for like in-depth wounds, but before I do that, where's my little tapper brush? Fudge. Oh, there it is. And I'm actually going to take a brown or black, you can also use black, and actually darken the inside of the cut up first. Like so, so it adds depth. And then of course you gotta add more pink, red. Fudge. And yeah, it looks kind of like brown skin. It's kind of, I'm actually gonna take a bit of face paint. And like really redden up the edges underfoot, you know, so. I think after I powder it, these other two, when they're ready to be powdered, I'm just going to do it with the paint. So you take the coagulated blood gel and you kind of just I prefer the pat technique. And you pat it onto the inside of your wound. And then what I like to do is take my stipple sponge, put an itty bitty bitty tiny dot like that, and gently kind of make it look as if it was kind of spattered around. And then of course I take this blood, get some on a brush and kind of get it to drip. And I'll even put some like on the inside, or I'll dip some on the outside. But mainly I like watching it drip from the different points of the makeup, because it kind of also ties up some of the jagged edges that sometimes might not have gotten sealed all the way. And then sometimes I will, of course, actually take that and kind of spatter that stuff around as well, especially like onto the lips when it's close to the lips like that. So that's the first kind of like done. I think the other two are ready. So of course I'm just gonna powder, powder, powder relentlessly. Dip it into the red and kind of, I do dab it on because you don't want to just completely color it red. And then of course take it a bit around the edges. I might actually like kind of blend it out. And then do the same thing with like the blood. Especially if there's any flaps, like you get in those flaps, because it makes it all the more realistic. Now you realize on the second one I didn't really darken it before putting in the blood, but that's because it wasn't that much open like that one in this one. I'm actually going to use face paint again, set on a brush. Gently, really, because it honestly really helps it if you do a little dark color beforehand, because then it just gives it that extra push. Now this stuff is very expensive, so I don't like using a lot of it. That's why I'll use a little bit and spread it around, or I'll get one glob and make it work and spread it around. And then I always will take a little bit, put a bit on the corner, and start dabbing away. And even sometimes go over the inside of that cut. Now I do wipe excess off on my arm. Of course, drippy drip drip time. And that kind of helps darken up some like extra skin, and I make it, oh, that feels good. You know, make it bloody, make it run, It helps redden up the skin as well, especially because this stains after it dries. That did not land where I want it to. A lot of times I'll put it like, you know, like a glob of blood on the top to kind of help blend it in with the skin a bit. And then usually like I'll, you know, make with the excess blood on the brush. And then take that and sometimes just like make it smeared around. But the definite last thing I always do is I always fill in my eyebrows. So beauty tutorial. I just take my old pomade and kind of just go ham. Not really too crazy. Ooh. Blend. And this is my first look. Giving it a couple minutes. So it's obviously, you know, like mauled by something. Now I always try to do it like smallest to biggest size because it's actually, oh, I got fake blood on myself. At least it washes out with water. Yeah, that happens. You get fake blood on yourself all the time, but it's okay because it comes out with water. And with the blood on it, if you, cause like stuff like this in real life, it's obviously going to be like very, very bloody, cause like your face is ripped open. So that's why using a lot of blood is good, because it helps cover up